So let me repeat that. So for the opening breathing, you can create a little incline with a bolster, maybe resting on a couple of bricks, or if you have a meditation cushion, sometimes I prop the bolster on a meditation cushion. If you don't have a bolster, a sofa cushion or a really large pillow or a couple like pillows off your bed will work. Just anything so that you create an incline, because being seated like this makes breathing into the belly easier, and that's what we want to facilitate today. Then bring your low back in front of the bolster and grab a rolled up blanket. Bring it on top of your feet and then wrap it under the leg on the side, so that when you bring the soles of your feet together and you open the legs, I'll show it like this so you can maybe see it better. The legs are actually propped on the blanket. If the blanket's not enough, you can always bring a couple of extra little pillows, or if you have a second blanket, you could make a bigger blanket roll like this and bring one under one knee and the other under the other knee. What I don't want is for you to have no support under the legs when you come into this reclined bound angle, because I don't want you to overstretch the muscles on the inside of your thigh, the adductor muscles. So it's really, really helpful to have a support under there. Once you have a support under your knees, then you can lower yourself onto your bolster and just notice if you can find a comfortable position for your head. If this is too much extension in your throat, you might need a little towel or pillow, or you could use your shirt and just prop the head a little bit so that you feel enough openness still in the throat, but not too much. And then from here, your arms will rest at your side. Now, my arms barely reach the floor here. If yours do, then that's perfect. If they don't, grab your blocks and give your arms a support so that they're fully resting on something. We don't want the arms floating. So it's kind of a careful setup for this meditation, but we will, as I said, be here for a while. All right. And once you have found your optimal setup for the moment, I invite you to close the eyes if that feels appropriate for you, but you can also leave them open and just have them sort of at half mast with a really gentle gaze downward and a very soft gaze, like not a laser pointed gaze, but a soft movement of the eyes. And then invite your body to release into the supports. It's sort of a double check that your props are positioned in a way that allows your body to find ease. And so make any last little adjustments that you think will create a better environment or support for letting go and for relaxing into your posture here. And as your body settles into this moment and into this space, I invite you to bring your attention to the region of your belly button, your navel. And notice the gentle movement here of the belly as it rises and falls. Draw all of your attention to that gentle motion of the abdomen expanding and the abdomen drawing in. Attend to that movement without any expectation about how much the belly should move here. The movement might be subtle, or it might be pretty substantial. It just depends on your own physiology in this moment. Continue to be very curious and attentive to this motion that happens at your center, at the central part of your anatomy. And continue to stay very aware of this motion of the belly button rising and falling. And widen the circle of your attention to notice whether you can feel this motion, this sense of rising and falling further up and down and to the sides of your abdomen. And you maybe feel the gentle expansion and contraction also in the region of the lower rib cage. Maybe you can feel it lower in the abdomen. Maybe there's a sense of expansion and contraction even at the side of your torso. I invite you to explore this possibility with an open mind, without expectation of finding a particular range of motion. Be curious simply about what presents itself in this moment. And then let your attention widen yet again. Noticing whether you can feel this sense of movement, this sense of pulsation, further up and down and sideways in your torso. Maybe now you notice that the pulsation reaches all the way through the chest. Maybe it reaches all the way into the hips. Maybe you feel it all through the torso, sides and back. Again, just notice with curiosity, without expectation, that you will meet a big pulsation here. Just notice whatever subtle movement is present. And then invite your attention to expand out even further, noticing whether you can sense pulsation here, all the way into the legs, into the shoulder girdle, through your entire torso, front, back, and sides. Curiously, mindfully paying attention to how vibration, how pulsation is moving through your body in this moment. Expand your circle of attention even further, reaching all the way through the legs, through the arms, through the back of the body, the neck, to the scalp, and across the top of the head, through the front of the body, the throat, across the face. Your entire physical being is in the focal point of your attention as you are noticing the vibration, the pulsation of life force, of prana with a capital P, moving through you in this moment. Be open-hearted and open-minded about wherever you can sense this pulsation. You don't have to notice it everywhere. And if you do, just continue to notice how prana, life force, is pulsing through your being in this moment. There is, of course, a link to prana with a little p, your breath, because your breath is the not so subtle vehicle of this very subtle life force. The breath is easily accessible as a focal point. And yet underneath the breath, underneath the vibration of the inhalation and the exhalation, there is this greater pulsation of life that moves through you. This subtle force that connects you to your environment, that connects you to the people in your life, that even connects you to this virtual community. As you attend to this pulsation, notice whether there are other subtle shifts in your way of being in this moment. Maybe there's a sense of tingling in your extremities. Maybe there's a sense of your heart opening up. Maybe there's a sense of the mind becoming clear and lucid. Whatever you meet, observe it with curiosity, without expectation. The pulsation of life force connects our body, our breath, our mind, our deeper inner wisdom, our connection to community. And through these many connections and unions, that connection to the pulsation of life ultimately brings us to our own sense of inner joy, to that most subtle layer of the self that in Sanskrit we call Anandamaya kosha, our layer of bliss, our layer of joy. Part of us that can rest in this moment with the joyful realization that we're not in this alone, that we are connected. Rest for a couple more moments in this sensation of pulsation, vibration, connection. And then gently bring your hands to the insides of your thighs. And give just a gentle little press on the thighs and let the thighs press back into the hands without moving them anywhere. This is a completely isometric movement, just waking up the muscles in the legs very gently. And then in your own due time, slide the hands to the outsides of the thighs. And with an exhalation, use your hands to bring the knees together. The feet can stay on the floor, or you can lift them if that feels better for your low back. If you did lift them, place them on the floor, and then before you move anywhere, allow your deeper wisdom to plot out a path for you to a seat. Listen inward and just notice, would you like to roll to your right side on the bolster? Would you like to roll off the bolster and rest for a moment? Or would you like to use your hands to press yourself straight up to a seat? Once you've been informed by your intuition, which might be the most auspicious path for you today, go ahead and start moving toward a seat. Once you're in a seat, you can either rest your palms on your thighs, or if it feels appropriate for you today, you can bring the palms together and rest them at your heart. I invite you to bow your head to your heart. Maybe your eyes can close if that feels appropriate, as you once again listen inward, inviting your intuition to send you an intention for your time on the mat today. A simple word or phrase that reflects something to which you want to dedicate your effort, something greater, something meaningful. If an intention arises that feels intuitive, then seal it into your heart with an in-breath and send it out into your community with an out-breath. And then gently release the hands, and if they were closed, open the eyes and lift your focus. If you had all these props on your mat, it might be helpful to move them to the side so that they're not in the way. And then I invite you to take the blanket roll that you had wrapped around your feet and to bring them under the sits bones so that you're lifting the hips up quite a bit. And then you get to decide your leg position, preferably something that rolls the legs open in the same way that we had them open in the bound angle pose. So an easy seat, the seat I have right now where you're bringing the heels in front of the groins works. Or if you prefer, you can stay in bound angle pose. If you do, I invite you to prop the knees a little bit, again, so that you're not overstretching this area. If you find that your low back rolls out here, if you do that, raise the blanket a little bit more or let the pelvis roll forward so that you keep a nice natural curve in the low back. You can experiment with different seats as we move through the practice, so you don't have to freeze into this particular seat for the entire time. And then I invite you to bring your hands to your knees if that feels appropriate. They could also be at your side on the floor, whatever feels good, or in front of you. And we'll move into a few seated cows and cats. And so as you inhale, bring the chest forward, letting the head roll back naturally, so not overextending the throat. And then as you exhale, draw yourself back, round the back, and move into a seated cat. And let your breath move you through this particular flow very gently as you sort of explore what is your range of motion like today in your spine here as you're flexing and extending very gently, waking up the spine. And as you move here with the breath, stay attuned to whether you can sense, in addition to the flow of air, the pulsation of energy, the pulsation of life force, as it moves not just through your body, but also through your breath, your mind, and your wise layer, your intuitive layer. The next time you have completed your cat arch, come back to neutral in your seat. Let your arms rest by your side, and then with your next inhalation, lift the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, turn to the right, letting the left hip move forward. And then as you inhale, breathe the arms up and exhale to the other side. And so this is our little twisty flow. You'll do this again with your own breath. Inhaling the arms to rise and exhaling to move into the twist. This is again a very gentle exploration and awakening of the spine, bringing it through right and left rotation. And so there's no forcing of the body here, there's just a gentle waking up. And as you flow through these little rotations or twists of the spine, notice if you can stay attuned not just to the breath, but the more subtle reverberations of the breath through your body and even through your mind. Maybe there are little stories the mind wants to tell you as we flow here. Just notice what they are. Notice if there's a part of you that's maybe impatient with the slow movement, or maybe there's a part of you that's like, oh, this is such a beautiful relief. Just pay attention to how the movement, the energy is affecting all of this. This is happening to us all the time. It's just not something that we always pay attention to. The next time you have twisted to your left, let that be the last twist. And then we'll all meet again in neutral. From here, we'll once again inhale the arms up, and then this time we'll flow into a little side bend. As we exhale, side bend to the left, stretching the right side long. Inhale, both arms up, side bend to the right, stretching the left side of the body long. And so the sequence goes, inhaling up and exhaling down, switching sides at the top of the breath each time. Staying attuned to the flow of the breath and also staying attuned to how this movement reverberates through the body. Can you stay grounded through both sits bones as you stretch to the side? Can you stay rooted to the earth here, instead of losing or untethering the grounding through the sits bones? As you flow with your own breath, not trying to mimic my speed at all, but really maybe even closing the eyes to notice, how is this vibration, this pulsation flowing through me in this moment? The next time you side bend to the right, stretching your left side, let that be your last side bend. And then we will all meet yet again in neutral. From here, you can remove your blanket from underneath you and then swing around so that you can come to a seat on your feet, opening the knees. And we won't sit on our feet long, so if this is really uncomfortable, don't worry about it too much. But if the top of your ankle isn't on the floor, you could consider bringing a little rolled up towel or even your rolled up blanket under the feet. to create a little lift there, just to make that more comfortable. And then stretch yourself forward so that you're kind of sinking toward the floor in the torso between your legs. And we'll pulse through a few sitting cats. So we'll inhale forward. And we'll exhale back toward the feet. You don't have to come all the way to the feet if that's not comfortable, but you can if that's the variation that's most auspicious for you today. And it might even change across time as you're pulsing here with the breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Again, working with patience today, working slowly, attentively, and mindfully, tuning in to the reverberation, not just of the actual breathing in and out, but the greater vibration or pulsation of prana. Noticing those pulsations in the body and in the mind. And maybe in your more intuitive, deeper layer of self. Take one more flow forward and back. And we'll all meet yet again, hands walking between the knees, seated on our feet. From here, I invite you to bring your knees together and then swing your legs in front of you. If you would like, you could grab your blanket again and have it behind you, but you're not seated on it. The blanket is a nice soft landing for your elbows, your forearms. I can show this from the side so that you can see what I'm doing. So I have my forearms and elbows on the blanket. It's just a little bit more cushioned. And then from here, bring the outside of the right ankle to just above the left knee. And hook your right foot around that left knee so that there's engagement in the right leg. And then pulse with the breath, inhaling, pressing the knee away from the body, and exhaling, allowing the knee to relax. This is a very, very tiny movement. And often we force this movement by using the hands. We're not doing that today. Today you're pulsing with the breath, pulsing with the vibration, using just your core muscles, maybe your glutes, your external hip rotators, all those muscles that can move that knee so effectively away from the body without using the arm for leverage. It's again a very patient movement, just inviting you to feel how the pulsation of the breath, the pulsation of life force can facilitate that movement. We'll do this a couple more times. And then release the right leg and shift sides. Left outside ankle, just above the right knee. Hook that foot around the knee and really engage that foot. Protects the knee joint, also makes you work a little harder. And then again, pulse. Inhaling the knee away. Exhaling, relaxing the knee. And you're really not relaxing or moving the knee, you're moving the leg. And you're using your core, you're using your glutes, you're using the deep muscles in your hips. that roll your thigh out. Patiently focus on this pulsation. Notice how the mind is receiving this work, this movement. If it's trying to tell stories of like or dislike. And pulse just a couple more times. And then release the left foot down. Bring the soles of the feet together just as we did at the beginning during our breathing. And press the outside edges of your feet firmly into the floor. Press your forearms and elbows, and then use the inhalation to lift your hips any amount, and the exhalation to release down. Do this a few times. Really engage your glutes here. If there is a resting pause in your breath, you can hold for a moment as you're lifted. Feeling the work in the glutes, in the core, in the legs. And notice how this movement too is working with the breath and the pulsation of life force as it moves through you. One last time. And then go ahead and bring yourself back up to a seat. I'm shifting, you don't have to. And then from here, see if you can wrap your hands around your feet. If you can't, grab a strap and bring the strap around the feet and hold on to the strap. Just create a connection between your feet and your hands, however it feels appropriate for you today, in a way that allows you to keep the heart open so you're not collapsing forward for sake of grabbing the feet. We want to stay nice and open here. And gently pulse forward and back in cow and cat like we did at the beginning, and just notice if anything has changed for you. Does this pulsation feel different now than it did earlier when you did it either in the same posture or in an easy seat? And the next time you come into cat, that's your last one. Come to a nice upright position here, and then press the elbows wherever they meet the knees, and press the legs, and then press the knees toward each other and into the elbows and the elbows away, so that you're creating a lot of isometric work here in the arms and the legs. Your inner thigh muscles, the adductors, are working really hard here because you're trying to close the knees toward each other, but the elbows aren't allowing it. And so we're really waking up those inside muscles on the thighs. And of course, we have a purpose for that, right? Beyond just noticing the pulsation of life, as if that weren't enough in and of itself. And then relax. Bring the feet out in front of you and just check out the legs for a moment as a transition of coming to standing. And so when you are ready, go ahead and stand up. If you feel really sturdy today and balanced, you can stay where you are. If you're not sure, it's still a little early in the morning, it might be nice if you have something that you can rest a hand on. It's not crucial. It could be a wall, it could be an object. And then when you have found your spot, Start by really noticing the roots of your feet into the ground, reconnecting yourself to the earth in the same way that we stayed connected to our sits bones as we were flowing through our opening spinal movements. Feel the strength of that grounding and then draw the leg muscles up so the kneecaps might come toward the hips, draw the belly in, creating that core stability, that way of being in the world in a really strong and balanced way. And then from that strength, either with a hand on an object or freestanding, it's your call. Bring the right knee up and catch it with your hands. Standing now on your left leg. Cultivating balance here. Just holding steady. And if you're noticing that you're struggling with balance, give yourself the joy of holding on to something so that you really can feel firm in this preparation for a bigger balance. And then if it's a possible variation for you today, you could release the left hand down and just have the right hand on the knee, but you can continue to hold with both hands. It's up to you. And open that right leg out to the side. Our hips are so ready for this movement because we've been opening them from the very beginning of class. And hold here. Notice how this is shifting your balance and how your left foot is adjusting, how it's rerouting itself into the earth. And then bring the leg forward. And now hold it without the support from your right hand so that you can reach the right hand to the inside of the right thigh and shin, grabbing a hold of your foot. If your arm's not long enough for that, take your strap, make a little loop, step the foot into the loop, and hold on to the strap with your hand. There's nothing magical about connecting the hand directly to the foot. They can be connected to one another through another implement. And so give yourself that joy. And let the leg once again open out to the side. Maybe the hand wants to slide to the ankle. Mine does. If yours does the same thing, allow it to do that. And then flex the ankle and let the bottom of the foot land wherever it wants to land on the inside of your left leg. It might be on the thigh, it might be high on the thigh or low on the thigh. It might be on the shin, it might even be on the knee, wherever it feels right for you. You can keep hold of that foot if your arm is long enough, or you can use your strap. And then press the right foot into the left thigh. Remember how we pressed the elbows into the legs in our last bound angle pose seated? Do this same thing with your adductors here, just pressing them in against the outer force. And so you're creating stability here. Find your tree pose. Maybe the hands are at the heart. Maybe you want to reach your branches out into the world. Maybe you want to sway a little bit in the wind. Just notice what your own intuition wants you to play with in this moment. You could add side bends like we did at the beginning of class. You could even add little twists. Just notice what you want to play with here on one leg. And when you've had enough fun with that, and remember, you can always keep a hand on the wall to stabilize yourself so that you can move more freely. And then meet again at the center. We will reverse out the way we came in. So bring the right hand back to the right ankle or to your strap if it's still there. Release the foot. It's very deliberate. Turn the leg forward and step the foot down. And then just jog it out a little bit. And you know we have two sides, so now we're going to do it on the other side. So if you need to find stability, do that. Root yourself first, feeling your feet grounding, drawing the musculature of the legs up toward the hips so that you have strong legs. Draw the pelvic floor in, draw the core in. Start from a place of stability. And then with your next inhalation, you can lift the knee and catch it either with both hands or one hand. You can even here use a strap so that you can be nice and upright and not collapse forward. Whatever variation is good for you in this moment. And let yourself re-stabilize here. Standing now on the other leg, and maybe notice how your legs differ or your body differs side to side. We tend to have one standing leg that's more stable than the other, and so just notice if that's the case for you and which side feels more stable. And then drop the right hand down to your side or use it to stabilize yourself. Left hand grabs the knee and helps you open the leg out to the side. Breathe into this. And notice the pulsations, the vibrations in your body. It may feel a little different now. Bring the leg forward again. Reach the left arm to the inside of the left thigh, the left shin, either with a strap or with your hand. Grab the left foot. Find stability. So we're in no rush to get to sort of this ultimate tree pose variation, right? The process is just as important as the potential outcome, because we don't know if the outcome will ever manifest anyway. And then let the foot touch down wherever it wants to on the inside of the right leg, keeping the left hand on your foot either with or without the strap. And finding those opposing forces, foot pressing into thigh, thigh pressing into foot, really creating strength, maintaining stability, and then finding balance. And then explore your variation of tree pose on this side. It may be very different from the other side. Maybe your hands are at your heart. Maybe your branches reach out. Maybe you're feeling playful, letting your tree sway in the wind. Just notice. Let your intuition guide you here. Being open-hearted and open-minded about whatever wants to emerge. Take another breath or two, playing and exploring. And then perhaps draw the hands down your central channel until the left hand can either re-grab the ankle or the strap if it's still hanging on your ankle. And we'll reverse out the way we came in. First, lifting the foot away from the standing leg. And then sliding the hand back to the knee, moving that leg forward, hugging it in one more time, and then releasing it down and jogging it out, maybe shaking the whole body. Reattuning yourself to vibration, pulsation, and movement into your entire being. All right. And then we're going to work our way to the floor. Make sure you have a blanket handy if you know you like it under your head for your final resting position. And then come to the top of the mat. With an inhalation, reach the arms up. I'll actually show this way. And then step your feet mat width apart. Keeping the arms lifted. Once again, create this external rotation in the thigh. You're so ready for this, right? And come down any amount into sort of a tiny little squat. Maybe you're pulsing here, coming up and down, letting the feet face in the direction of the knees. So not copying my foot direction at all. I have duck feet, so I'm pretty external in my feet. Yours may not be as extremely turned out as mine. And the next time we pulse downward, we go all the way down, letting the arms follow the legs. And then bringing, once again, the elbows to the thighs. Pressing, if they can move there, the hands to the heart or toward the heart. They can also face straight out. Nothing magical about the hand placement. It's just a way of playing with the different variations of the pose. Press those legs into the elbows, elbows into the legs. So you really, really feel this squat. This is a great strengthener for your leg muscles. It'll keep you getting up and off a couch for the rest of your life. And then release the hands forward, but keep the squat. If you want, you can bring your hands behind you to lower yourself down. If you want to see if you can hold yourself with your core, see if you can lower the bum all the way to the ground. For a very gentle touchdown. Sometimes the touchdown's not so gentle. Sometimes the butt comes down and you roll backwards. That's okay too. Whatever works for you in this moment. Yeah. And then from here, I invite you to roll onto your back. You can use your hands to walk yourself down. You can use your core power to roll yourself down. Whatever feels appropriate to you in this moment. And then once you are on your back, I invite you to tune in. Notice what last little movements the body wants to make here. There is no doubt some movement that wants to emerge. And so tune into your inner wisdom to know what it is. Maybe it's windshield wipers with the feet nice and wide apart. Maybe it's some supine twists while you're lying on your back. Or maybe you just want to hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. Or maybe it's a happy baby, legs in the air, arms in the air, expressing Anandamaya kosha. Just notice what wants to emerge and give in to that intuition. Playing freely. Maybe tuning in yet again to where you feel pulsation in the body, in the breath, and in the mind. If it feels appropriate, you could begin to close your eyes here, or to cast them downward, to bring your gaze inward, even if the eyes stay open. And gently begin to slow whatever movement is still happening in the body. Inviting all the layers of yourself to prepare for stillness, for rest. And as you settle yourself into your final relaxation posture, just notice if there is a different way your body wants to settle here today. Don't just habitually move into whatever variation of this pose you usually choose. But notice if there is something different your body wants today. And once you have attuned to that, begin to settle into whatever shape you want to take. To find your stillness, to find your shavasana. Perhaps issue one final invitation to your body to release, to let go, to surrender. One final invitation to your breath to become soft. Surrendering to the flow of prana. So that you're being breathed rather than actively breathing. And then perhaps issue an invitation to your mind to let go. Surrender to your deeper wisdom that will always know which thoughts or emotions are important and which ones are less so. So that you're not grasping on to whatever is happening in the mind right now, nor are you rejecting it. You just know whatever is there, and you surrender. With body, breath, and mind having surrendered, you've created a portal to your inner wisdom, your inner joy. Maybe they'll emerge for you today as we move into stillness. Maybe they won't. The outcome is much less important than the process. And so I invite you now into a few minutes of stillness. Gently invite your senses to return to the outer world, taking in the smells, the sounds, the textures around you. And once again, invite your intuition to help you wriggle your body awake. Inviting small intuitive movements, stretches, wiggles, whatever wants to emerge. And then perhaps invite a deep conscious breath in and out. Giving yourself a very luxurious and slow reawakening here. I invite you to reattune to the pulsations that move through your body, your breath, and your mind. And when it feels appropriate for you, and in whatever way feels most auspicious for you in this moment, invite that pulsation, that vibration that moves through you to move you toward a seat. Maybe rolling through your right side and pausing there for a breath or two. Ultimately finding a comfortable seat as you come back into this virtual room, into this moment. Maybe your hands want to rest in your lap or on your thighs, or maybe it feels comfortable to draw your palms together at your heart. Whatever your physical shape, I invite you to bow your head to your heart. To look inward to the amazing vibrations, the amazing pulsations that are present in you every moment of every day. I invite you to stay attuned to these vibrations and pulsations as you re-enter your world off the mat. To let them guide you into wise choices, into discerning ways of being in the world and in relationship, of creating meaning and purpose, not just for yourself, but your entire community. As always, thank you so much for practicing with me. It's an honor and it's a pleasure. Take good care.